Hope everyone's doing well. I've kind of slacked a little bit. I haven't put a video out in over a week, and my dog, unfortunately, has been having a lot of problems. So she swallowed a fish hook, and that was crazy. And then $2,000 later, found out that she has cancer. So it's been really rough. I've been trying to function and do my thing, but it's just me and her. She's my best friend, so basically had to just drop everything and tend to that. And she's somewhat stable right now, so kind of trying to dabble into work and this stuff again. So anyways, with that said, hope everyone's doing good. Basically, this is the rebuild kit for the Kawasaki ZXi 900 carburetor, the CDK, the Keihin CDK2. I got this for like $16.75 on eBay with shipping. That's it. And I was just like, there's no way. And I looked at all the pictures, and it looks exactly like what I need. And it has a lot more stuff than was even in the picture. So basically, got these fuel filters, which I've gotten before, and they work great because it's a 3-carb setup. So we got 3 bags of goodies. And if you remember in the last video, or the video 2 videos ago, these guys were like crispy critters. These guys are nice and soft, good elasticity. Seem a little cheap, but for the price, I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, then we got that, and we got other gaskets, Super Tech O-rings, all fit. A couple different options. Outer gasket, a sealed gasket, has like a plastic layer on it. No seat, but a needle. And that times 3. So yeah, this is all the same stuff. And these hoses I've had before on several kits, and I really like them. I don't know what the story is with those, but they've got good elasticity. They're a dual layer, and they work really awesome. So that looks to be complete. And then they give us our little ruler, which comes in every carb kit that I've never once used. I've got the carburetor on the jet ski, so I'm going to pull that off, and then I'm going to get it disassembled, and then we will go from there. So without further ado, let's dig into that carburetor. Alright, so I got the carburetor rebuilt and got the hoses on. Getting the hoses on was a bit of a pain in the butt because the older hoses, a couple of them were actually glued on. So I had to like scrape off all the extra hose that was left over on the nipples there. And some of the metal clips, they didn't fit on every single one of the nipples. So like basically they also came with a bunch of zip ties. So I used zip ties on the larger ones, and then used the clips on all the ones I could, because I prefer the clips. They're really nice, and they're all brand new, and they got a cadmium coating on them, so they look cool. They'll last for a long time without rusting. So yeah, these carburetors are really different from what I'm used to. They seem to be all vacuum orientated. The way everything works is like a diaphragm to a diaphragm to a diaphragm to a one-way valve, blah blah blah. There's no float bowl, and I think that's because jet skis have like such a different way that they stay level. They could be down, they could be forward, they could be side to side, and they have to function in all those different angles. And when you take a turn on a jet ski, you're getting pretty sideways, and that could be sustained for quite some time. So if your float bowl's like sideways, it's not going to function right. You're going to spill fuel out. Dirt bikes kind of do the same thing, but at the same time, it's not sustained for as long as a jet ski would be sustained sideways. So yeah, so they're pretty interesting. Will this be better for a crawler type vehicle? I'm not going to get crazy with this, but you know, it kind of makes you think like, well, maybe one of these carburetors will be better if you're like doing some radical 4x4 angles and you're like stuck in some position where your float bowl will get all weird. Maybe something like this would be better. Maybe it'll be worse. Maybe I could put on some float bowl based carburetors that would perform better. I don't know, but it's fun thinking about it and it's fun checking it out. And I like having this distraction right now. My dog's doing pretty good, but it's been a hectic week. So that said, I'm gonna get this back onto the engine and then got to prime it up and try and run it again and see if we got any luck here. I'm hoping we do. Overall, these were very, very clean inside. Didn't look like they had very much use at all. So yeah, let's get this off the bench and onto the engine. Carburetor is back on. Got the exhaust hooked up. Battery's hooked up. I'll leave this little towel here to create a little back pressure. I got the choke on. Pumped up the fuel pressure, which feels pretty good. Got my throttle down here. Definitely got an air screw thing going on right now. Figured that's what it was. Kill switch didn't work. Use dieseling, but it runs. Interesting. Smoked out. So, with the right conditions, it's getting fuel. What I'm figuring out is, and I've had this happen with other carburetors before, it just depends on how the machine is designed. Some carbs will run open like this. Some of them won't. So this one is more vacuum related. Like there's a lot more vacuum going on in this carburetor than most carburetors, like a typical float bowl carburetor. So what I'm thinking is, as soon as I covered this up, it fired up. So basically it needs a back pressure here. So when the engine is sucking in, all the vacuum gets maximized to the right spot and it pulls fuel in from the carburetors, right? Because the carburetor's not squirting. It's not like an accelerator pump. It doesn't squirt in every time you hit the throttle. It just opens the throttle up. So the vacuum, once the throttle's opened, is what brings the fuel into the system. Now, not all carburetors do that. So had I studied this a little more, I probably could have figured that out myself, but I'm just kind of winging it, and that's kind of what I like to do with new machines, within reason. I don't want to mess anything up, you know? But basically, I'm thinking vacuum would be fine, but it's not. So what I have to do is get the air box back on here and seal that up. And then what that'll do is basically be just like having my arm on there. Now, once I got it running, it wanted to die. I opened up the choke. It's all of a sudden started running like crazy, because what I did was I turned the idle screw, essentially, which is an air screw on this. Well, you have three adjustments. You have an idle screw, then you have a low and a high speed air screw. And so I just opened them up. Now they only turn like quarter of a turn. That's it. They're blocked on both sides, so you can't really go crazy like 2 turns out, 1 turn out, 1.5 turns like you would with like a dirt bike engine or even car carburetors. So basically I've got it all the way out. So once I got the proper vacuum, got fuel into the system, it started sucking in fine, and then when I opened it up, it's set too high, so it was kind of running away on me, right? So then I tried to turn it off, and my kill switch is just a simple toggle switch. Now there's 2 other wires here that I have just disconnected. Now one's a ground, and one, I'm not sure what the other one is. So I definitely have to have the ground factored into this switch in order to kill the signal. I'll look at the wiring diagram again, though, with this and see what's activated when I kill it. And I might have to close these 2 wires together to kill it. So it might be a 2 toggle switch. Now, the way that this was in the jet ski, it's like a circular switch. So those circular switches, when you turn them, they'll have 2 sets of contacts that rotate. So 4 wires, 2 sets of contacts, 1 motion. So that's probably what I didn't account for. So I'm not too stressed about that. I'll figure that out. But yeah, it runs and sounded all right. I got the full exhaust on right now and it wasn't too loud. Smoked a ton, but I've also put a heavy oil mix in here, and I've put a little bit of oil and WD-40 in these pistons while they've been sitting. So that's got to burn off. But yeah, it runs, and it actually, with the exhaust on, it's not as gnarly as it sounds with just the straight headers. With just the straight headers, this thing is a screamer, and it sounds like it's going to rip somebody's head off. When you put the muffler on it, it's really not that bad at all. So I'm pretty excited. I think that this is going to be feasible. So now I'm just going to, like I said, put the air blocks on there, and I'm going to get the kill switch sorted out. And probably not today. I got some client work I got to take care of, and I've got some dog stuff that I've got to take care of. Air box is on. Kind of weird though, it just has these open holes here. So I don't know if it's going to do anything. Figured out my kill switch. Just going to touch those 2 wires together. Ignition's on. Let's give it a shot. That was a lot of smoke. My neighbors are going to hate me right now. But it runs. All right, let's give her another shot. She's running away on me. Gonna have to figure that out. Man, oh man, is it smoking. Wow, that was a lot of smoke in very little time. I took out the air screws. Turns out they have a little plastic cap on them that limits their range, and they're set from the factory. So you just pop those off, and then you can verify where you're at. So popped them off, saw where they were set. They were pretty close to factory spec. Pulled them out, checked them out, wiped them off, put them back in at the right spec. Realized that the throttle here had some preload set on it. It's still not on the idle screw, but the idle screw is like a plastic screw that's kind of messed up. So I got to replace that. But I've got this all the way out, so there's slack on the throttle. Got the choke on, I've got some fuel pressure, ignition's on, so we're going to try again and see if we can get this to run. And hopefully it doesn't run away like it was doing before. I think it was the throttle. So we'll give it a couple pumps. And here goes nothing. Probably need some fuel in there. That just doesn't like engines. Honey, go lie down, okay? Oh, we might be out of fuel. Son of a biscuit. Success. Hell yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm out of gas. Just want to take a second and say thank you to everybody that's sent prayers, positive vibes, made donations to help me cover the cost of my dog's health care. Swallowing a fish hook and then finding out she has cancer. It's been a hell of a couple weeks, and it's nice to kind of get a little normalcy again. She's pretty stable now. We're trying some new medications I just ordered today, and gonna keep looking into what we can do to prolong her life even more and help keep her quality of life where it's at and not go any further below that. So Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you gotten this far, I know the last couple episodes have been kind of boring, but it's kind of the fun part. This is the science experiment stuff. This is figuring out how to get it all to work. New platforms, new carbs, new electronics. Everything's new to me, so it's part of the fun. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next segment.